Electric car drivers at this moment be like, see ya! Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning back in. Now, slight diesel issue here. That van, the truck has run out of fuel and that one's basically on its fuel light. So I'm running around this week in the little Kangoo, which is electric, so happy days. So I've got to bop over to East London now because I've got an EICR to go and do. It's just coming up to 7 AM. So I'm going to hit the road. I'll see you over there. Welcome back. Right, we're in East London. Now, I'll be honest, I don't feel too confident about leaving my van here, but we are here. I actually used more electric than I thought. Used half a battery to get here. We've got just under half a battery and I've got to try and get back on that battery. So we'll see how we get on. But James is on holiday at the moment. He's in Mallorca, I think. James, I'm using your pouch while you're away. I know this is going to give you sleepless nights because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap those around like that. Maybe I'll swap those around as well, actually. And you're on holiday and there's nothing you can do about it. Right, this is an EICR. This one came in 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's been in the pipeline for a while. It's one of these generic boards, you know, like Marbo. They used to do, you don't really see Marbo anymore. What's the other one? Volex. It's like it's the same board, but they just put their own brand name on it, but they all use the generic, it's a generic board and generic breakers and RCDs and stuff. They just changed the brand on it, and this is Sector. Yeah, I don't know who they are, but it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 circuits, so it shouldn't take too long. It looks relatively neat, actually. It doesn't look too bad. It's far better than some I've seen this week, that's for sure. Last week, that's for sure. So, I shall fill this out on the old Tough book. Yeah, give me 5. Let me fill all this paperwork out and just get my stuff together and we'll be back in a mo. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Right, we're pretty much at the end of this EICR. It's actually, to be fair, I don't think I've had a C2 anywhere actually. It's been pretty good. I'm going through the list of schedule of items inspected. What do you call no earth sleeving on a CPC? I can't think of what it is. It's not condition of installation of live parts because a CPC isn't classed as a live conductor under normal operating conditions. So it's not that. I can't think what you call it. Where's the code for it? There's no sleeving behind the pendants. It's just, you know, been cut and it's just been pushed in. Identification of conductors, I guess 6.1. I'll put it as that. I can't think what else to call it. But otherwise, it's all right. The only thing that is an issue here is the sockets are all on 132 amp. So they've got basically the kitchen, the ground floor, and the bedrooms upstairs are all on one big, it's just basically one big ring. The ring is all intact. It's absolutely fine, but it is one, and they are complaining when they have the dishwasher, the tumble dryer, and the washing machine on together. When all 3 of them are on, it trips the MCB. It doesn't trip the RCD. It's just the breaker it trips. But they are having the kitchen refitted shortly, so I'll recommend they just put a new ring in just for the kitchen. And the problem is it's one ring serving the whole house. Now you can't really give that a C2 because technically the breaker is actually doing its job. It's tripping. So it's not that there's an issue as such. It's just that when they plug in all the appliances in the kitchen, it trips it. But do you know what I mean? That's not really a C2. They're overloading it, but there's a problem with the circuit. That's a user issue, not a wiring issue. I'll just put it down as an observation. Customers reported it, but the circuit tests out okay. Would advise kitchen to have its own ring fitted. This is actually James's little pouch that I'm using at the moment, but he's got this, he's not that fond of it. Oh, sorry mate, yeah, go on. No, that's fine. He's got this little pouch, but he's not that fond of this little Weeha screwdriver. And I've never seen it before, but I really like it. It's a pop out, and you just take out the bits you want, and you just close it, you know? But I really like it. He doesn't think much of it, because he says he doesn't like it, because these bits here, they, after a while of constantly doing this, taking them in and out, apparently these break. I like the idea that you just literally, can't do it now, I can. There we go. You just put them all back in, and you just carry that around. But I quite liked it. I thought it was a good idea. Yeah, Weeha. And just a little tip I've learned before you go, I haven't actually got my torque screwdriver on me, but just go through every single terminal and just nip them up one by one. It just gives you this great ability to be able to sleep at night, you know. and all the ones you haven't checked, like on the meter tells and stuff. Even if you don't know the exact torque, just nip it up. Just doesn't hurt, you know. You can normally feel, I've learned, even with a torque screwdriver, you'll feel when the right sort of pressure is. You can feel if you're putting too much pressure on it. But just nip them all up. It just gives you that peace of mind when you drive away. There's no, you know, there's no loose connections, because that's not, especially if you travel, like I've travelled a fair way today to come to this EICR. This is over in Plaistow, East London. You don't want to come back just because of an arcing ring which you didn't tighten up. Now, coming here took a lot longer than we planned because we sat in a lot of traffic, but we used just over half a battery. So to get back, it says it's 26 miles to get back to the unit. And to get here took us just over half a battery. So the maths it's not adding up really. I might be one of those ones out of fuel on the side of the road with all the other drivers. I'm optimistic. Let's give this a go. What's life if you don't live a little, eh?
20 minutes later.
Right, situation reports. I'm not as confident as I once was as, let's say, when I got in the van. I don't know if we're going to make it. I'll give it a go. Yeah, it's anybody's race this. I may make it. I think I will, but I don't think there's going to be very much left in the tank. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. We did make it back. Not a lot of charge left. She's just above the red. So she does make it. I got to move this charge pod. It's so irritating. I didn't really think about it when I fitted it here. Of course, when I plug in now, it's all very well and good, but you're left with this slight health and safety hazard here. So the only reason I didn't mount it here was because I was worried when you drive in and out, you'll rip it off the wall. But actually, you won't, because all of this structure's here, so you'd never drive this close anyway. But I will eventually. I'll move it there, and then it won't be so much of an issue. I'm on paperwork duty this afternoon, so we might get some content. I don't really know what we're doing upstairs. I know there's various bits and pieces I've got to do. So let me unpack the van, get it sorted, and I'm not sure what the next scene will be, but I guess we'll find out.
Day 2.
Right, everybody, now, next day. I'm actually on my own here in the unit this week, so I'm sort of covering the office. Well, Sarah and Vanita are both in the office, but I'm basically the only one out on the road this week. So James is in Mallorca? Somewhere around, I don't know. He sent me a picture very nicely of him on one of those air beds in a swimming pool. In fact, I'll put the picture here. So while he's in Mallorca, I'm carrying on here on my own. We've got some LED strip which was fitted, but apparently it's not working or something. I don't know. The tenants reported it to the landlord. Landlord then reported it to me. So of course that chain, I'm sure when I get there it's probably absolutely fine, but I have to go there. So I've got some new strip and a driver just in case, some disposable overshoes because I've run out. And then once I've done that job, I don't know if we'll get any content there. I'll give it a go. We'll see what we can do. Once I've done that, we've got to head over to Chalk Farm. It's a little refurb which is being done. They're turning it into a HMO. So we're going to be back there this afternoon. So let me get in the little Kangoo and I'll see you, not sure which job. I'll see you over there though. Did an EICR in this bookshop like 18 months ago. And for the life of me, I cannot find the ticket. We've looked everywhere for it. I can't find it. So I've got to basically I've just got to redo it. I've just rung the client. I said, look, I can't find the ticket anywhere for the life of me. So I've come back and they've obviously had some sort of fire survey done, I'm guessing, because this key switch has appeared for the fire alarm panel. But also they've put all this fireboarding around the cupboard, which is fine. But someone's put a load of blue expanding foam above the fuse board and I now can't take the cover off. You've got to give them credit for trying. I literally can't take the cover off. It's just welded on now with blue expanding foam. Literally rip it off. Yeah, this is one of those installs. It's not pretty, but it's functional. Right, give me 5. Let me do this. I'll be back in a mo. Yeah, so right, a little call out now, and this is through like a national service provider. The problem is, this is a classic example, like you never know what you're going to run into. It just came through as boiler not working. That's literally all the information we've got. And you turn up, and it's not actually the boiler isn't working. The boiler's functioning fine. It's just that the RCD is tripping. But the RCD controls the dishwasher, the fridge, the cooker hood, the hob, and the boiler. So although it's come through as one job, it isn't actually that. And it's a bit difficult because like you've got to you can only, with this company that I'm contracting to, they only allow you, I think it's 1 hour of fault finding. So you've got to try and get to the bottom of the fault within the hour. If you can't, you have to ring in and ask for permission to do more fault finding. So you sort of you do end up sort of chasing your tail a little bit with these sort of jobs, because you just never know what you're going to run into. But the boiler here actually is fine. The valves are all okay, and normally with things like boilers, you can normally see pretty quickly what the problem is. It's normally a leaking pump. A valve is, there's been a leak and it's got into the the solenoid on the valve and stuff. Normally it's pretty obvious stuff that you can see, but all of this is in good condition. There's just nothing wrong with it. So chances are it's probably, my hunch is the dishwasher. So, but again, I can't unplug it because it's this style here, so you can't actually get to it to physically unplug it. So I'm just sort of running everything at the moment, trying to find it. But it is difficult. You've got to try and be a bit, you've got to be a bit Sherlock to try and get to the bottom of this stuff. So let me have a bit of a closer investigation, and I'll be back in a moment. Yeah, so, fucking hell. Suicide lift. Yeah, so that was literally just, all I could see was, I'll leave a picture of it on the screen, just where the boiler cable, someone's just rough-ass, just cut it in front of the back box, and I think that live is just, it's arcing against the side of the case by the looks of it. Yeah, what I tend to find is a good thing to do, if you turn all the appliances on, well, keep them all off first, do a ramp test on the RCD to see where on the spectrum it trips, and most RCDs never trip at, I've never had a 30 milliamp RCD trip at 30 milliamps. It just doesn't happen. They always trip at sort of 23, 24, 25, somewhere in that region. So if it passes that, which it did, plug all the appliances back in, turn everything on, put the boiler on, dishwasher, just put everything on like you normally would. Do a leak test on the RCD, so just do a ramp test, and just see where it trips. Or you can do a half load test, which is what I did in there. Just do a half load test. If it passes that, I mean, you're pretty confident there's no leakage on the circuit as such. It would indicate that everything, if it tripped on a half load test, that would tell you that there is some sort of leakage on the circuit, but absolutely fine. And it still tripped to 24 milliamps. It's spot on. So the only thing I found was that cable in that grid switch where someone's just rammed it in without any thought. So yeah, there's not a lot you can do. I've just put a little bit of insulation tape over it, pushed it back on, and just told him, look, if it gives you any grief, just let us know. There's not really a lot more you can do. It's kind of like taking a car to a garage with an intermittent fault. If the fault was permanently there, it'd be a doddle to find. You could isolate the cause of it very quickly, but it is literally, it's like taking a car with an intermittent fault to a garage. Sod's law, the day you take it there, there's no problem. So it's exactly like that there. You just kind of, it's just, you're sort of being Sherlock, really. But that's done. So we have to fit those in quickly because we've got a thing we have to respond within 24 hours, or I think within 4 hours to those ones. So we've got to try and do them quite quickly. So next job. I think I've got some LED strip which isn't working, but I'm not sure if we can get any content there. So let me have a look in the book and I'll see you in a bit. Right, this is an interesting one. This is a call out that came in. Some bathroom LED strip isn't working. And this is an all LED driver. Now, all LED drivers are brilliant. They're really, really good. They're great quality. They just don't go wrong. They're brilliant. But they do have a flaw. Not a flaw as such, but I can show you. If you look at the writing on the front of the driver, these drivers are only designed to operate between, the input voltage has to be between 220 and 240. Now, this here is 250. This driver won't operate, it just switches off. So it's not that there's a fault as such, because this job came through as a fault. It's not that there's a fault, it's just these drivers will only work between 220 and 240 volts. So I had this on another job actually. It was on, actually they were dimming it, but when you turn the dimmer switch right up, it doesn't quite give you 240, it actually gives you like 220, 218, but it wouldn't switch on. This is the same, but the opposite way around. The voltage is too high for this driver to kick in, it's like 245. So all I've got to do is just go out and I'll source a driver which it has a looser input parameter, so to speak. If you come across all LED drivers, just be aware that if they're dimming it, even when they turn the dimmer up full, it might not be enough to kick the driver in, because that's registering 249 volts, which is more than what the driver will accommodate. So it just, all it does, it just switches off. So, right, let me hop in the van now, because I know I won't have, I've got an all LED driver on the van as a spare, but I know that isn't going to work. So I'll have to go down to Cricklewood, see if I can find a wholesaler to pick up a different brand of driver. So I'll be back in a mo. Right, sorted. That's the end result. Out there. So it's come out quite nice. But yeah, just popped a new driver pack on and we're good to go. I never understood these doors which work on these pressure hinges. Whatever. Right, I'll see you out in the van. Right, that job is done. Now I was supposed to go over to Chalk Farm to go and do, I'm just looking at my phone now, I was supposed to go and do a job over there, but I just haven't got time because it's 3 o'clock and I've still got other stuff I've got to get done, so I'm just going to have to book that in for another day. This day has completely gone to cock. I was supposed to be at one job all day today in Chalk Farm and it just hasn't happened. So yeah, let me go back to the unit. If I look a little frazzled and stressed, it's because I am. James is away this week and I'm on my own, so I'm sort of doing everything from a bit of paperwork to just trying to fit in these little jobs are the ones which take up the most time, like that little job there. That was a callback to give you a gauge. Those lights there was a callback, and that callback's been sat on our on the whiteboard for probably 3 weeks now because they're just such awkward little jobs to try to get back to them. But that was there was a variety of other work there, but that was like 800 quid on an invoice. It's being held because of those. Now those lights are working, we can get it paid, but it's just like those little jobs they really cock up your diary. So yeah, if I look a little frazzled, it's okay. It's just it's wrapping up all these little small jobs. They just the smallest jobs they honestly take the most time. Bigger jobs, it sounds silly, but bigger jobs you can get done quicker. These little ones eat a lot of time in your day.
Day 3.
I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to today's job. There's an intercom system in a block of flats and we're swapping it out and putting a new system in. It's the old hand telephone that's coming out. We're putting digital pads in, which I've been putting off for weeks, but I've got to do it today. The car is charging, we're good. Right, let me get set up over there and we'll be back in a mo. Right, so that is the old unit off. That's the new unit. It's a lovely stainless steel finish. I tried to get one where the measurements were the same and I couldn't get the height, but the width I can get. I'm going to try and source a stainless steel or some sort of steel plate that covers the entire hole, and then I can cut this into the stainless steel plate so it'll give a nice neat finish. That's the plan anyway. Right, these are the handsets on the inside. They've actually got their own power supply, which is perfect because we need to utilise that. The system they want has got to have it's got an SD card built into the side of it so that it records movements, and every time someone presses, it records automatically and stuff. So, because these screens have all died, so it was just easier to replace the whole system. So that's got to come off, but luckily I don't have to run any trunking, which is brilliant news. That's really good. Right, this is the end result of one of them. There's a couple of reasons why I got these kits. I think this kit was from, it was a place in Chiswick, next to the wine shop in Chiswick High Street. But it was like 500, I think, for 3 flats with the door entry thing downstairs and an SD card facility, which you pop in the side. That was 550, I think, plus VAT. So it weren't horrendous money, but the reason I got this was twofold. The first reason, you can buy retrofit kits. So like the old system that was here with the handset, you can buy kits which are designed to like retrofit straight on top of these ones. So you basically lift up the old module, pull it out, take the connectors out the back, get your new one, pop the connector straight in, put your new unit back on. I didn't go with those because although the newer versions, the retrofit ones, are nicer, they're bulky units. They're just not clean. I liked this because it was stainless steel. It's a nice stainless steel finish with a glass touchscreen. It was just, and it's not that much work to alter the cabling to fit this one. These are still relatively simple systems. So that was the reason, which is why I didn't go with the retrofit, because even the newer systems, they're like twice the depth of this. They're just bigger, bulkier systems, which essentially do exactly the same system as this. And they didn't have the SD card facility in them. That was the other reason. This one does. But it's a lovely chic, I think it's a very chic finish. I'm quite pleased with that. I've just put this on loosely. I haven't fixed it properly yet. I've got to put there's a little 12-volt driver pack I've got to fit behind, which I've got to go out and get in a second. But I like it. It's a very chic finish, I think. These old ones had a mains voltage adapter. They were mains powered. These ones here use a 12-volt supply. Now, the inherent problem with 12 volt is you can't run it over long distances. What you can do, if you've got a particularly small building, you can put the power pack downstairs, but here it's quite a long run. I'm using this because it gives a nice constant voltage, which these things really like. What I'm going to have to do is this back box here, I'm going to have to whip this back box out. What I would like to do is keep it on display somewhere where you can get to it easily, but of course it just looks butt ugly. There's nowhere here on a finished wall you can put it. So what I'll do, I'll take this back box out and I'll just pop it behind, I'll wire it in just behind the back box. So if they ever do need to get to it, this is relatively simple. This just lifts off and comes away from the wall, and then you can just pull the back box out and it's right there. I'm not a fan of enclosing things behind walls. I've never liked it, but here again, when you're limited for space, what do you do? You've got to be realistic. 24 volt ones are a little bit more amicable, where you can put a driver pack downstairs and it will power the whole building. But 12 volt is, you can only run it short distances, which is why the packs have to be up here. I must say, these Bosch jackets, these heated jackets, first day I've used it because it's pretty chilly this morning. Pretty good, gotta say. They don't heat the arms, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have the arms heated as well, but it heats the back, and it is nice, especially if you're, I got them because, or I asked Bosch to send me them because I figured when we're doing highway work in winter, it's just nice to have a heated jacket. But yeah, it's like 3 different modes of hot, medium, and like mild. But it's nice. First day, but I'll keep you posted on how good they are. But so far, seem pretty good. Okay, fabulous. Yeah, you can have 2 different doors. So if you've got a front door and a back door to a house, and you can link up cameras to it as well. So you can just buy if you just want a camera monitoring the back door and stuff, you can have front and rear cams. And then when someone presses a button, it records that image as well, and then it saves it onto the SD card, and you can review it here. I liked it just because it was all touchscreen. And it's a nice touchscreen. In the store, it was, to be fair, they were very helpful, and it was just, they put them all out on display and you can physically play around with them. And this one had the nicest touchscreen. It's a very gentle, really sensitive touchscreen, which I liked. On some of the really cheap ones, you've got to be quite ham-fisted to operate them. But this is nice, I like it. Okay, I didn't know the bird had just shit on me. It's not, no. Yeah, no, that's the outside panel done. I've got to put a little, I'm going to pick up some silver or like a light grey coloured silicone just to very neatly go around that edge, just to stop the sharp edge. But yeah, that's the end result. It's nice actually, the audio on this is properly nice. The one we've got at the unit is just a really cheap, cheerful one. It was like 110 quid, it was a proper cheap one. And the audio and the video on that's really nasty. I mean, it works, but you can tell it's a cheap unit. This one is a lovely, the actual finish inside. I'll show you, I won't do it tonight because the residents are all back, but I'll show you tomorrow. The visual and mostly the audio actually, the 2-way intercom is really nice on these. It's a really crisp, clear audio. Considering, what it started with, it's, I'm pleased with that.
Day 4.
This is actually the next day. I'm 2 minutes around the corner from the job. And he's fucked off up there. Oh, I don't know, is he not going up on the boot? Oh. There's a bucket truck there. I've just noticed he just put his lights on. I just wanted to see if he sets up any cones or signage before he goes up. And does he bother wearing a hat and a lanyard and stuff? But I might have to wait 5 minutes to see. Oh yeah. The problem is, right, I know people will report me to the police now for driving one of these things, but the thing is, like, our client is like, well, if you go all the way to the bottom of that street, they are very bottom of the street and like another probably 100 metres on. And to park here is really difficult. There's just no pay and display anywhere, and it's all permit bays, and the wardens here, they're like rats, they're everywhere. So in the end, we just park because in an EV bay, the great thing about those is you don't have to pay for parking. So you charge up your vehicle effectively for like £2 an hour or whatever it is. And then but it just means every time you forget something, like, oh shit, I've got to go back to the van, it just takes you ages walking to and from the van. So we just use scooters just to do that bit of distance. It just makes life a bit easier, Fucking meow. Fucking meow. Now, these locks here, these are super, super common. You get these in loads of communal blocks, really, really common. And they're good locks. They're really good for overnight security. They're good, solid locks. As long as you run the wiring on the inside, They're very, very good. Basically all you've got here is essentially an electromagnet, and when you unlock from upstairs, it's basically just energizes this, and it literally just brings in this contact in like this. That's all that happens. So basically all that happens is you've got this movable lever here, and when the electromagnet kicks in, it just brings in this plate and the door unlocks. That's it. But all that's happening here, after thousands of uses, what happens is sometimes the pin on the inside of this little electromagnet sticks, and it just sticks in. That's literally what happens. And the best way to get around it is just literally the tiniest little squirt of oil just to lubricate it, and it's all right again. All right, so this is the end result. So basically all that happens is it's just a touch screen, and it's a lovely system. Just tap it anywhere, and that's your menu there. So you've got things if you want to have like external cams fitted, so like if you want cameras in the back garden or something, and it's quite cool. You can put them on PIRs, so as soon as it picks up movement, it's got the SD card built into the side, so it automatically starts recording. And then you've got things like, you've got a second door. So let's say you've got a big house, you've got a back door. If you want to have a second external pad on the back door, so you can flick between different cams and stuff, so the front door and the back door. But this one, we've just got one cam, which is the front door. So, and then you've just got all your options. We haven't got transfer here, so that'd be like if you wanted to have another internal monitor upstairs, you can transfer the call upstairs. But this is just one pad here. So you can have intercom, so if you want to have just two-way audio, or you can just unlock the door downstairs, and that's it. So the other cool thing is you've got this snapshot facility. If like a Amazon or a DPD driver arrives, if you just want to take a quick snapshot, bang, and it just saves it to the SD card, or you can just press it and it'll just record a video, and it will just keep recording it until you tell it to stop. So it is quite a cool facility, and you can have this, we've actually set it up on the ground floor one. You can make it so that it automatically takes a photo or a video when somebody presses the buzzer for your house. So they'll press it and then the screen will come up and it will just take a photo straight away automatically. So it's quite handy for security, and the SD card's in the side. So it's quite a neat system. I quite like it, you know. Not the cheapest one. I think that was, like I said, like 500. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there were far cheaper ones. But that's, you know, I think for the finish that you get and for the functionality, I thought it was a good bit of kit. Right. One thing I wanted to point out is a couple of people were talking about rates and rates of contracts and stuff. Well, our neighbours have got a cat, right? Coochie the cat, right? And he had blood in his pee, and naturally it didn't show itself until like 7 o'clock that evening. So like, you know, got to take him to the vet, right? To book an appointment with a vet, local vet, right? Nothing special. We're not talking super vets here, just a local run-of-the-mill vet, right? Just to book the appointment. So that's not even treatment or anything. Just to book the appointment, £200, right? And then we walked in there, and some Helga's there behind the desk, you know, put the cat on the desk, you know, and a little bottle of tablets, like anti-anxiety tablets or something, 100 quid. That was nearly £300, and we were in there 15 minutes, max 15 minutes, £300, you know. So, and we've got to go to the vet. That's the messed up bit. You have to physically go to them. They just sit there and you come to them. £300. You know, so when people moan at like a call-out fee of 150 quid, and I've got to take my truck and everything and go and see them, sorry, that is reasonable. So this whole thing of rates, I mean, anyone who, sometimes it comes up into the comments and like, oh, extortionate rates. It's not. When you compare like other professional services like vets and stuff, you know, and your setup costs here are exactly the same. You know, it's still a skill which has to be charged for. So yeah, £300. Yeah, that's what I thought. Really expensive. But we're going to end this video here because I'm steaming this van off, then I've got the other two to do. So yeah, comments, questions below. Anything you want us to, if there's anything you want us to do, leave it below. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we are hopefully back on form. Now we've got our new cam and stuff, we're pretty much back up to speed again. And yeah, all being well, I'll see you on Friday.